Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with some more Phyrexia All Will Be One action, and today we're playing a deck that I like to call Ovika's Valet, because this deck is built around Ovika Enigma Goliath from Phyrexia All Will Be One. It's a 7 mana with one being red and one being blue, or one of the mana pips being red and one of them being blue. It's a flying 6/6 ward 3 pay 3 life, so there's 2 ward costs. It's a Phyrexian Nightmare. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you create X 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens, where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until end of turn. So this works really well with non-creature spells into creating a bunch of tiny goblins that can go ahead and swing in. So we want to be able to ramp into this high cost spell. But what also works well with a bunch of creatures entering the battlefield, well, that's our good old friend Devilish Valet from Streets of New Capenna. It has trample, haste, 1/3, but it says Alliance whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, double Devilish Valet's power until end of turn. So with Ovika out there, this card can get really massive and swing in for a 1-turn KO. Well, what also works really well with Devilish Valet, Awaken the Woods, because it can create a bunch of creature tokens that will trigger Devilish Valet's Alliance ability, because this says pay X into green, create X 1/1 green forest dryad land creature tokens. So we can pay a bunch of mana into this, create a bunch of forest dryad tokens. This could also work well with Ovika, because we're paying a bunch of mana and now we'll create a bunch of goblins at the same time. And then we're also creating a bunch of forest dryads. This could get really out of hand with Devilish Valet, so that's the end goal. We also have some other synergies here. With Awaken the Woods also works really well with Nissa because it ramps you into Nissa. So Awaken the Woods, a nice ramp spell, but Awaken the Woods also works well with Nissa because her -7 says, until end of turn, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. Well, Awaken the Woods creates forest dryad land creature tokens. So that's kind of some of the extra synergies in this deck. We're playing a bunch of generic, good non-creature spells to trigger Ovika, like Fable, and we also have some ramp with Joint Exploration, Silver Scrutiny, another X spell to pump a bunch of mana into and trigger Ovika, also good for card draw. So let's go ahead and get into the games and see if we can do some winning on the Mythic ladder. I didn't get to playtest this deck a whole ton, but I played it in the normal queue, and I won a bunch of times with just Devilish Valet and Awaken the Woods. Or I kept winning with Awaken the Woods and Devilish Valet, so let's see what we can do now. Um, but yeah, if you're interested in more Magic the Gathering Arena videos, consider subscribing because I think it's like 95% of you guys who watch aren't subscribed. And I plan to make a bunch more videos. We like to make not like the typical kind of decks. I try and make unique decks um, that are sometimes viable, and sometimes we play more jank decks. Like our last video was a deck built around Monument to Perfection. Didn't really work that great, but it was still pretty cool. And again, I forgot to mention this, there'll be a full deck tech at the end of the video. So if you're interested in all the specifics of the cards being played, we'll explain them as we come across them, but we'll also be going there. Or we'll be going in detail at the end here. Opponent playing Boros. Aggro. Got Jorkadine here. Don't see any equipment yet, which is interesting. Do we want to block Jorkadine? Do we want to take 8 is a problem. They have a combat trick up their hand, so we don't really want to bother blocking. They're probably holding up a combat trick, and they wanted to see if they could trade with us. I'm assuming that's what it was. Ooh, Kemba. Kemba and Jorkadine. I tried to make a Boros equipment deck myself. Did not have as much success. But that was a pretty bad draw. Do we want to go ahead and attack in here, ramp into Awaken the Woods, and then see if we can get Nissa down the next turn? Because Nissa can start blowing up their equipment is what I'm trying to say. Hmm. This is definitely one of the harder games that I've played with this deck. Our opponent developed the board really fast. We haven't found a sweeper, so we probably should have gotten rid of our carpals carp. I can't be bothered to pronounce it. Um, so it'd be if we awaken the woods here, do we get to play Nissa next turn? Yes, we would get to definitely play Nissa next turn. But we're taking a total of 9 damage if we don't block anything. I mean, 7 of it's gonna be trampling anyways. Maybe we play Ovika next turn. We could draw here with Reckoner Bankbuster to see if we can find a sweeper. That might be the best option, but we do have the Fable of Mirror Breaker flipping. I'm gonna go ahead and play this. Oh, we can crew up the Bankbuster. That's a secret tech that we can try and hide by passing as effectively here as possible. Let me know if have you guys looked at any of the previews for Martian Machines, because I saw it, or like I saw the oh yeah, they get +X/+X and draw a card for equipped number of creatures. It's got trample. There's no reason of blocking with the Bankbuster here then. That is upsetting, but we can play Nissa this next turn and then just instead take it up. Or we could play Ovika. Ovika might be the smarter move, because Ovika will give us a bunch. I'm talking a bunch of goblins once we play Nissa. So I think we're gonna play Ovika here, and then we'll prepare ourselves to do some blocking. Our opponent will be able to duplicate their goblin token, and that's it. Rebel Salvo. That's bad. I would love to crew my Bankbuster in response, but it's our turn, so it doesn't matter. It's just no. Okay, are we dead? We can create a bunch of goblins if we get to play Nissa here. But we need to take... Yeah, we can block with the dryad and still play Nissa. That is very bad news. Bad news bears. But they're out of mana here. Oh, okay, we'll just take that. No blocks. Hopefully, does it say to any target? No, creature or planeswalker. They're probably only running Rebel Salvo. Cross our fingers and hope to fly, or whatever the saying is, right? Nissa, create ourselves 7 goblins. Let's go. That's so epic. And then we could wait. We actually get the kill because we just ticked down Nissa. We have three forests because we have these 3 dryads. We didn't get any of our basic forests. Oh my goodness. We have these 3 forests here because these are all forests. These are not forests. These are not forests, despite saying it in the name. But we give all of our goblins +3/+3 and trample, and then we could swing in and kill them because that's like 4 times 7 plus the 6/6 flyer, right? 4 times 7 is 28, right? And then plus 6 in the air. They were pretty dead. That's so funny. We managed to eke our way into a victory there. I honestly thought we lost that one, but I was like, at least we get to do the cool Ovika things. We actually saw almost everything in that game besides our Devilish Valet synergy. That's so cool. This deck's interesting. I don't think I've seen anyone play Ovika, and then I was like, I looked on I was looking on Aether Hub, and I was like, Ovika. And I looked at like one of the decks. People only played like Is It Brews of it, but I saw one that said Ovika Valet, and I was like, wait a minute, that's very true. You could play Ovika with Devilish Valet, and see how that goes. And then I was like, wait a minute, they're gonna play Devilish Valet. Why not like throw in more fun cards, like Awaken the Woods? We got triple Fable, so if we lose this game, that's impressive. Opponent playing black here. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I forgot to talk about this in the last game because I was too busy trying to figure out the right plays. Um, but have you guys seen any of the March of Machines um, pre or like the first look that they gave or the trailer? I was watching a Magic the Gathering video on YouTube, and I got an ad for the upcoming set March of Machines, and my goodness, the video was so cool. The like the trailer or whatever you want to call it, like the cinematic they had was so cool. I don't know why they didn't put like that cinematic in like a message in like Arena to be like, oh, like look forward to this set, or like this is what like you have to look forward to, or like if you want to pre-order like cards or whatever. But hmm, Beast Caller. I don't think we're going to be able to go over the top with that, and it looks like our opponent's playing Fight Rigging, so Brotherhood's End is going to be completely useless here. Another Fable we're not exactly interested in. Alright, we could play Xander's Lounge here, and then play another Fable. I think that's the correct play here. And then next turn we can play a very big Awaken the Woods, and then play Ovika. We're going to be taking little beats here. But what was I going to say? I encourage you to check out the video. I will put like a link in the description for the March of Machines. I won't really spoil any of the cards here that like they talked about. But I'll put a link to like the MagicCon Philly segment they did. The first minute of it though is the ooh, okay. They're gonna destroy our stuff. No, they're not gonna actually use it to blow up our they're not gonna use it to blow up our Fable, which is kind of shocking. But I mean, I guess it makes sense. They're getting to their fight rigging sooner. Fight rigging in Nissa, I didn't think about that. I might have to try that in a Golgari deck. I tried to make like a Golgari deck, and I didn't end up having much success. But yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna put a link in the description to the trailer video or whatever it was. We don't need two lands here because we have one to play this turn. I think we'll be cool without it. And we'll probably, if we discard a land, there's like a good chance we draw a land, right? So we'll go ahead and do that. Opponent, do we need to teach you how the Nissa combo is done? We did end up drawing another land, right? Um, so we could play Awaken the Woods here, or what we can do is we can hold up drawing with our Bank Buster and then use Joint Exploration, and then I think we can cast the Ovika and then cast the Awaken the Woods, and we'll get a bunch of goblins. I don't know if that's the right move, because if we top deck a Nissa here, we would have wished that we did the Awaken the Woods here for like 4. Because then we can play the Nissa, and then we can pump our remaining forests. We do have 2 forests in our lands right now, forest, right? So everything will get +6/+6. Okay. We're going to be taking a beating here because opponent. You know, yeah, you could have just taken down the Nissa. I mean, fair enough. They're on the beat down here. But if we create it, they don't have none of them have trample. So as long as they don't find Kodama of the West Tree, I think it's the West Tree. Yep, there you go. You get one thing here. Shake down heavy, and then since the fight reading says you cast it for free, the way the hideaway works, it says you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Counts as like a cast trigger. You do get another counter from Korean Beast Caller. Go ahead, 2 damage. Well, it's not quite what we're looking for, but we'll take it. That and that are definitely not what we're looking for. Okay, that kind of works. My turn. My question is, are we too late here? Because we're gonna play this, and then yeah, that's the only thing we can play. So we're gonna take. If they place their counters well, we die. Or we can play out the Awaken the Woods and create a bunch of trees and block with a series of the trees. Assuming they don't find their trample. Though no, they can't take down Nissa. So if they don't find another Nissa, or there's not another Nissa hiding underneath there, which they didn't cast it, but I think that's because they only hit 7 on one of them. We'll play this for 6, right? Yeah. That uses our treasure as well. It's fine. Combat, two attackers, and turn. Okay, so we can't play that with our Ovika, unfortunately, but we can just play Ovika and then Silver Scrutiny. We just need to survive a turn. Oh, that's bad. That's real bad. Because when we chump block now, we're gonna lose life. Good game. I don't think they've realized it, but... Is it another Nissa? Yep. Nissa is a real good one to put on like a fight ring deck. It's just another Archfiend. That is rough. The chump block plan got completely shut down by the Archfiend. The last ability of the Archfiend is whenever a creature your opponent control dies, its controller loses 2 life. So we're about to die regardless of whether or not we block. No, you can just beat us in the face. That is unfortunate. But yeah, I forget. I get distracted with the games and stuff or whatever, but I don't know if I finished what I was saying about like the trailer. I will put a link to it. They do the first minute of it. I'm gonna link to the hour-long video where like they go through all the cards following that, or like the information that they're willing to give at this time, the first look. But the very first minute of it is like their animated trailer or cinematic, and it's really cool. And I was gonna say that the most apt comparison for like the March of Machines, which is the next set to come out that I've been talking about, is it's like Avengers Endgame for Magic the Gathering. Lots of planes and different people from Magic's history show up. All right, I'm gonna go play down the Xander's Lounge here. We're not gonna join Exploration on 2, because we can use this to get another land on the battlefield. So that's why we're playing this card. It's also a ramp card, but it's also like a draw, Scry 2 draw card. Do we want to blow up their Gix? It seems like a good idea. If we can get Nissa down, we can use her to destroy the Scroll's Hive eventually. Because it says destroy target artifact or enchantment as it's -1. Our opponent is going to be bleeding out here, which is going to be good for us. In that case, we'll play Fable here so we can chump the 1 token that they'll be able to swing in with next turn. They won't be able to swing in with it. Gonna lose 2 life here. Yep, keep it up, opponent. Keep it up. My turn. That thing is a pain in the bum. I love you, children. I love you so much. We need to find a sweeper for Shieldred. We are running 3 burn down the houses, which would kill Shieldred here. But if we draw here, we're gonna lose a bunch of life. There is upsides and downsides to what we're about to do. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of Devilish Valet for right now. Or we can get rid of Joint Exploration. Because we'll play a Fable if we don't find an answer here, I think. Okay, maybe we're just playing into our own death. Alright, Bankbuster it is. I mean, you could play Joint Exploration here, or we can play down Bankbuster. I think Bankbuster gives us most long-term value. If we had one more creature here, we could block the Shieldred and kill it. Kill it if they swing in. Kill it. Ah, you filthy, filthy Shieldred player. But I was gonna say, also the stream or the video where they like do like MagicCon Philly and they talk about the new set. It's interesting because you get to actually like see the faces behind the set design or like the new set design and everything, which I thought was really cool. You're gonna sack a mite to get yourself back, your Gix. You rat. Wait, they didn't swing in. Okay, I think I'm gonna get rid of Devilish Valet because Devilish Valet stands no purpose here. And then maybe Joint Exploration as well, or do we just like... We're dying unless we find an answer to the Shieldred. I don't... Yeah, we'll do this. And then if we swing in... Okay, this is the grand plan. Don't tell them. It was all just part of the plan. So they're gonna block with Shieldred here. That way Brotherhood's End kills Shieldred. That son of a gun. Well, we get to play a full Nissa here. And then tick it up, which is something, but we're still dead. We're still so dead. We can blow up their Scrub's Hive or their Spirit Sister's Call or their draw spell. Which one do we think? Do we blow it up or do we create a body? I think we create a body, right? Or we blow up their... The most important one to blow up would be Phyrexian Arena here because it's drawing them more cards. But if we tick down and they kill our reflection, we lose Nissa. So I think we're going to do that. They are life neutral now. Actually, they're gaining life, rather. We tried to Brotherhood end their Shieldred, but they're intelligent, which is unfair. I might have to play a Kaya deck soon, because Kaya in this situation, you play Kaya, then you tick down to exile their Shieldred and get a Spirit 1/1 copy of it. That way, when you can draw cards. We'll go ahead and create this with that, just if we want. Just in case we want the extra blocker. And then your killer ranking or bank booster is at the same time. More now. Okay. I mean, if they swing in on our Nissa, they're not swinging in on our face. That is one thing. My question is, could Nissa provide lethal for us? No, we only have 2 forests. Could really, really use one of our Brotherhood's End at this, or not Brotherhood's End. Oh my god. I hate you, opponent. I really do. This is a really cool deck the opponent put together, though. I like the synergies between Scrub's Hive and Spirit Sister's Call, and then Phyrexian Arena works well with Shieldred. I like that one less because it's Shieldred. Everything works well with Shieldred, right? You just kind of like slam your face on a keyboard and you're winning with Shieldred. We're basically dead on our upkeep. You get to... And then they found a Shieldred's Edict for our Planeswalker. No? Ah, I love Magic the Gathering. Oh, Nissa, couldn't you use like a just a blur Shieldred button? I feel like that would make Nissa that wouldn't break Nissa, right? Just destroying Shieldred. Damn it. Well, I can pump up my creatures by 2. I could draw and blow myself up. I could see if the opponent has a way to sacrifice their own Shieldred, but they don't have any of those things, so we'll just go in for the glory play. Guess opponent, I'm taking down Nissa. I have 2 forests. You can try and count them too. Well, why are you killing that one? That one's not even gonna do damage to you. You fool. You baboon. Shieldred. Shieldred's gonna do Shieldred things, and we're not gonna draw into our one Shieldred type removal. I mean, maybe we just play out the board and not try and draw into Shieldred removal, but like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just Shieldred phobic. I'm afraid of the Shelly. Sort of like the opponents that like countered the Monument to Perfection, or like the person who used like 3 Brotherhood's End on Monument to Perfection, and then they had no response to our White Sun's Twilight. They were just terrified of it. This is a terrible hand. This hand is worse. Sort of. Whatever. Copperline Gorge. Surprised we're doing so poorly with this deck, but to be fair, we've played 4 games, right? We won 2 and like lost 2. Or if we played, is that true? I don't know. Alright, there we go. We can play this Failure Breaker and get rid of a Reckoner and Bankbuster and maybe Awaken the Woods. I think that's what we'll do. We'll see what we draw next turn. We definitely want the Fable going. If our opponent's not going to play any creatures, we can get rid of the burn down the house potentially. Opponent playing slower, but I'm afraid of when they play slower. They're playing Jeskai, they could be playing a Mind Splice Apparatus deck. They have a fairy avatar, so things seem to line up with that hypothesis. We'll discard the Awaken the Woods. We don't need 2 Awaken the Woods, I don't think. I mean, it would be pretty cool. It would be pretty crazy. Go ahead, swing in. See if our opponent has a response. Because sometimes they don't like taking 2 damage. I think we might just draw with Reckoner Bankbuster and then use Joint Expiration also. Opponent did not do anything with 4 mana up on our turn. Jeskai colors. Red, white, and blue. What are they up to? Planeswalkers? Beats me. Mishra's Command. Yep, you're a Mind Splice Apparatus deck. You are a Mind Splice Apparatus deck. Nobody plays Mishra's Command. The only reason you play that card is Mind Splice Apparatus. Two mana open, so they're holding up like a make disappear for us. So maybe we do joint exploration before the Bank Buster, or they potentially tap out in the end of their turn. Trying to figure out what they want to discard and draw, because There's a series of things to choose from, but one of them is choose target player. They may discard up to X cards when they do. What the heck? What are you doing? Are you trying to protect your? I'm so confused. They're not a Mind Slice Apparatus deck. Just tapping the right mana sources there, thankfully. We'll go ahead, pay 3 here. Ooh, Nissa's fun. That's fun. Don't mind if I do. Yep. Play Ovika on our turn, right? And then we can play Nissa, and then we can play Awaken the Woods, and then we can take down Nissa. The grand plan. Auto pay. They have no counter spells because they tapped out. We can go ahead and swing in with a Bank Buster if we want. I think that's fun. We'll do that. We're on the offensive. Watch out, opponent. You're gonna block the Denic. Block with the Denic. That's fine by me. You can make your flyer if you're afraid of Ovika. You should be. Pay 3 light. You're actually gonna go for the Ovika? My goodness, how lame. Alright, do you want to Awaken the Woods before we play the Nissa? Yes. The answer is yes. We want to Awaken the Woods before we play the Nissa. Because that way they have haste and we can just do it all in one turn. That would have created 5 goblins, or that would have actually created 7 goblins. Am I too late to do this? Next 2 attackers. Getting as much damage as possible because I'm feeling aggro. Mad that you removed my Ovika. Alright, opponent, we're gonna have a word. Don't really want to play this out into open mana because our opponent is a little turd. They're playing probably counter spells. I mean, we could test the waters with a Reckoner Bank Buster if we really want. Are you gonna counter the Bank Buster? I mean, also we need to fish out the counter spells anyways. They do have an instant speed interaction, most likely. We'll probably just draw a card here. And then hold up joint exploration. Hopefully we find a land. Yep. Oh wait, we already had a land drop for this turn. Or we could actually use a land drop for this turn. Okay, pass the turn. Bank Buster's vital in this deck because we have these turds like our opponent here who are gonna sweeper the board, counter our spells probably. And if we draw out of cards, we don't really want to just be relying on our joint explorations to find more gas. Also, Bank Buster, the #1 card played in Standard. Well, because it's colorless card draw and it draws you 3 cards every couple turns, and it's also a good body for beating down because it can be a 4/4, even if it's crew 3, and crew 3s can be hard to meet. Opponent here thinking long and hard about what they want to do. We could pop the treasure if we want to use joint exploration with our Bank Buster. Or our other Bank Buster if we want to draw with the other Bank Buster, because we have 5 mana if you include the treasure, 4 mana if we don't. And if we want to play the kicker to put a land into the battlefield. But we might not want to pull out the treasure. Unless our opponent's going to use the Brotherhood's End. Leer. I somehow knew you were playing Leer. Probably because you're playing Denic. So you're just a Leer control deck? Well, spells can't be countered anymore thanks to Leer. Leer says spells can't be countered. So we can go ahead and just guarantee ourselves the playing of spells, which is cool. Ooh, that's fun. We'll go ahead and just do this. Devilish Valet, burn down the house. I don't think we need another Devilish Valet. Could be wrong. Maybe we'll. We don't have an Ovika. We'll take the land for right now. My turn. So we could play out this garden. We could use it for cycle. We are playing these even though we don't have any white in our deck. It's just so that we can also cycle them in their red-green duels. We also have the Xander's Lounge for the same exact reason. We'll play out Nissa and then create a giant, thick body. I think what we can do next turn is we can kill our opponent. And you're gonna be like, huh? The trick is we play Devilish Valet, we tick down Nissa, and then we play Burn Down the House. Nissa will pump up our Devilish Valet's power, and then this will double that power for each of the 3 devils that it creates, which would make its power really big. Oh, destroy all artifacts 3 or less. Okay, that's fine. Blow up the treasure because it's going to be blown up by Brotherhoods anyway. Anyway. Okay. Resolve. Opponent can use the Valorous Stance on our token, and then we'll have to chump block with the other thing, but it is what it is. Drew into an island. Yep, saw that one coming. Will our opponent shoot our Planeswalker with their Mishra's command? Oh man, I was trying to right-click it. I don't love hovering the card that I don't want them to cast. Though they could shoot down the token, or they just go for the double whammy. Alright, that's fine. Alright, Nissa, the question is, do we want to blow you up? Do we want you dead? Nah, we don't want you dead. Though we could have played the Valet first, and so we missed out on some damage here. Because we could have... Actually, we could have killed our opponent here. I'm actually trolling. So if we play this and we double it 1, 2, 3 times... Man, we actually missed lethal there. Because if we play Devilish Valet, we create the token, it becomes a 2/3, and then we burn down the house, creating 3 goblins, it becomes a 4/3, and then an 8/3, and then a 16/3. 16 is more than 14, they die. But in this case, it just doubles up to an 8/3, and then we get 3 goblins through, so that does leave them at pretty low, and then if they blow up the goblins, they die. So if they have no life gain, this is still probably one of the best plans. I did miss lethal though, which makes me very, very sad. It's still 11 damage, so if they kill the goblins at any point, they're dead. Still got Nissa around, which can make eventually big body, or keep making bigger and bigger bodies. Because of Nissa's tick up, right? Create a XX Phyrexian Horror creature token, where X is Nissa's Nissa Ascended Animist Loyalty. Cool. Fine by me. Play your Denic. Borrowed Time or Nissa? Sir, I think you should be more worried about everything else we have, but... Oh, that's annoying. Alright, we gotta wait until our creatures actually have power, because otherwise doubling them doesn't do anything. I'll go ahead and swing in with this. They have to block it. We don't get anything from doing that. We'll just keep it back. But yeah, this would double the Devilish Valet's power as many times as we want, but the problem being is our Devilish Valet's power was -1. So it would go into the negatives. Or presumably the game functions properly. I hate you, opponent. I hate everything about you. Okay, we play this, we just cast... No, now they could counter our spells because Lear's gone. Do we think they play counter spells in a Lear deck? I'm gonna go with no. But do they have another sweeper is the other question. They probably do, and in that regard, I'm going to cry. You don't have a counterspell. You don't. If you're playing a counterspell, I'm literally going to lose my mind. You're playing counterspells in a Lear deck. What is wrong with you? You're wrong. You're wrong in every shape and way. I hate you. Oh my goodness, there's no way you're playing a counterspell in a deck that plays a card that says spells can't be countered. Ah, and you actually have the counterspell. You're probably playing like 2 or 3 copies of them, and you freaking... Oh my god, I'm losing my goddamn mind. Great, drew another freaking land. Kill us, opponent. Just do it. Show us your grand plan to kill us. You filthy, filthy, filthy control player. Oh, it's not control? My bad. Still sweepered my board and countered my spells. It's control in my book. Brotherhood's End, show me it. Oh, you're casually running disenchant. There is something wrong with you, opponent. There is something horribly wrong with you. I'm not gonna play this Copperland Gorge so that we can discard it to the Fable. That's assuming your Fable actually resolves and sticks around, because they're probably playing like 2 copies of Disenchant, and they probably drew both of them. That's so dumb. That is so dumb. Yep, you, instead of drawing a card, you exile the top 2 cards of your library with a Ruth. How many bank busters have we gone through? 3? I think we're playing 4, so. Or we could draw into a Nissa. In that case, we get rid of one of the things and we're chilling. Opponent, I'm going to punch you in the face. Alright. Do they have a hard counter spell here? Well, time to find out. If they're not playing a hard counter spell, we can pay and draw like 7. We'll draw 7. We could draw more than that, but I'm gonna just play around the fact that they could be playing Make Disappear and make disappear one of their creatures. Or kill one of, or like sacrifice one of the creatures to it. Do you have the counter? You don't have the counter spell. You baboon. You baboon. Well, in that case, what do I want to play? What is the right play? So I could Brotherhood's End here. Blows up their creature, or several of their creatures, which keeps us from going lower. We just take 2. Let's do that. Bye-bye. I don't like you. Now do you have your Make Disappear? Oh, indestructible. Valorant stance. Okay, we can play Ovika into Nissa, maybe? And then we kill him. Opponent exiles more creatures, Elspeth, and Urza's Rebuff. You can play those cards this turn, so they lose them. Cool, so they can't use the counter spell. But they probably play... Oh, they can't play Elspeth either. Oh, they drew into 2 of their most useless spells. Well, useless in the sense they can't play them. Are they going to swing in? Do they believe that we have the sauce? And are you playing a full set of Urza's Rebuff? Because if you're playing a full set of Urza's Rebuff, I'm... What is their deck? It's just like Jeskai Legends. Because they're playing Denick, they're playing a Ruth, they're playing... what else have they... Well, they played Lear. Lear. Do you have a counterspell? Okay, let's see. Do we have enough mana after we do this to play Nissa? We do! Haha! Do we think they have a counterspell? This is like one of the most important ones to resolve. I mean, if they don't have a counterspell, we play Nissa, which is still pretty good. Or if they do have a counterspell, we can still play Nissa afterwards. Uh, play this for 5, right? We play this for 5, and then we can joint expiration if it gets countered. Though I don't know if kicker counts towards the cost. Mana value of that spell. Well, even if we play joint expiration afterwards, it doesn't make a difference. I don't think our opponent has a counter spell. Or maybe they just don't think Ovika is that big of a problem. We'll play this for this much, right? But then, are we dead if they wipe the board? No. We're still chilling. Okay. Yeah. I think so. That's fine. Oh, it's when we cast. So it's even if they counter it, they can't counter the trigger. My bad. Okay, yeah, we're chilling. Oh, it's also the mana value. So even though I paid 5 for it, what the heck? I didn't pay that much for it. We still get in. Okay, cool. Good game. Die. Die. Man, we didn't get to see Devilish Valet go off at all in these games. Wow, this deck has been doing all right. Did we win 2 and then lose 2, or was it we won 1 and then we lost 2? I think we'll end off the gameplay there, and then we'll hop into a deck tech. Because I don't want to make this video too long. We didn't get to see Devilish Valet go off. Well, no, we did. We did do the Devilish Valet with the burn down the house. We missed lethal, and then we almost lost that game because we missed lethal. Oh my goodness. But we learned something also very interesting in that very last game, that these completed cards, even if you complete them, it's about the mana value of the card. So if you complete them, you still get the goblins for the full value. So maybe you make like an Ovika completed deck, which would be kind of funny, um, to cheat out extra goblins. Don't think that's really like worth it. You could play like Ovika with like Tamio. Tamio is a really good planeswalker that's not 7 mana, that you can complete. That will give you like a bonus goblin if you complete it. But besides that, going over the actual deck. If you enjoyed the deck, make sure to leave a like. Also consider subscribing. But going through the cards individually, we're playing Joint Expiration. This is our kind of cantrip like card. We can use this to draw on the opponent's, or we usually wait until our opponent's turn. We'll scry 2, draw a card. We can also, very importantly, kick it for 1 green mana, and then if we kicked it, we can put a land from our hand onto the battlefield. So this card works really, really well in these kind of ramp decks because you can scry 2, order the land to be the top card, draw the land, and then put the land on the battlefield. So that's why we're playing this card. It helps us get land on the battlefield. We're also playing, I think, no, we're playing 24 lands. I was wrong. But you can see that we're playing an average mana value of 3.6. We've got a lot of red symbols here. So you can see that a lot of our lands have red. So Jetmir's Garden has red, has red. This is our few set of lands that we don't have red in. This has red, this has red, this has red, this has red. Got a mountain, 2 forests, 2 islands. They do also need a lot of green symbols here because Nissa, but we're also making treasures with Fable, and then we also might be completing Nissa, so we need less green sources, but we're also making green sources with Awaken the Woods, so it's a little bit of mishmash there, but joint exploration, ramp, and it's card draw. The scrying is also nice. Abrade, we're playing this as our sort of like removal spell of choice. Um, I'll be honest, the main reason I'm have been using a braid in like some of my decks is like if you go to MTG Goldfish, their like website, they have a thing for cards. They have like a tab for cards, and then if you go popular cards slash staples, and you click on, well, top cards overall, you'll see that Reckoner Bankbuster is number one. Oh, we have 4 copies of that. Go for the Throats 2, Lauren of the Third Pass 3, Cut Downs 4. Eventually, you'll see O'Braid there at number 10, and they're playing 3 copies of it, or like on average, it's being played in 37% of decks with like 2.8 copies. I will admit that these commonly played cards in standard or whatever, I think these are probably a bit more tuned to best of three. I might be wrong. Maybe it's best of three and best of one. Um, but the list here says a braid is a really good removal spell, and so that's kind of why we're playing a braid, is it's a good removal spell in red, but we're choosing it over like Cathartic Pyre or anything like that, because, well, I think the reason why so many people were playing it is destroy target artifact, you're gonna blow up opposing Bankbusters, and Bankbuster's number one on the list. So that's really important. Bankbuster, we saw it here do tons of value, or like putting ton of work. It's a very valuable card, and that's why we're playing it. So that's Bankbuster, 2 generic mana. It's also, these are all non-creature spells. You'll notice we only have a few creature spells with Ovika and Devilish Valet. So yeah, we're playing the some popular, very good generic cards here. And then these cards, they are in the 2 mana slot here, but we're probably going to be pumping more mana into them. We got Silver Scrutiny, which you saw put in some work there in one of those games. I think we still lost it. I think it was, no, I think we drew it in 2 games. I'm not good with remembering the games, but uh, is really nice because A, it's an X spell, so we can pump a bunch of. Actually, I don't know. We if somebody actually gets this off, if you pay a bunch of mana into the X, does that work with Avika? Because Avika, this might be wrong. I may have had this wrong this entire time. That Avika, if you pay like mana into the X, does it count as mana value? I don't think it does, based off of our experience with Nissa. So that's an important thing to ask. I'll look at that before we close the video, but Silver Scrutiny, you can pay it into X and draw X cards. If X is 3 or less, you can play it at flash speed, which is nice. Awaken the Woods creates a bunch of forest, dryad, land creature tokens, works well with Nissa's ultimate, or -7, works well with Devilish Valet. Also just a really good ramp card, because we can play this, and then it helps us play Ovika. We have these 8 7 drops that we want to ramp into, so that's very important. Devilish Valet, already talked about it, works well with Awaken the Woods. It's a 3 mana, 1 red, 1/3 trample haze with lines, double its power whenever a creature enters the battlefield. Important to note, if you ultimate Nissa and then you create like a creature, or you like have like a creature enter the battlefield, like it doubles its power, its current power. So if you have a +1 counter on this, it starts at 2 power. If you have 2 +1 counters on it, it starts at 3 power, and it will double it to 6, and so on. So that is an interesting interaction to keep in mind. Fable of Mirror um, just another generic good card, probably one of the best cards in Standard. Creates the goblin that helps us ramp with treasure tokens, and then we can filter our hand by discarding 2 cards and then drawing 2 cards. And then it flips into this thing that can copy our Devilish Valet, which acts as another alliance trigger. And then if we create a bunch of tokens with Awaken the Woods, then we have 2 Devilish Valets going off, which can potentially be the lethal that we need. So that's another important interaction to keep in mind. Brotherhood's End, we're playing this. This is also one of like the most popular cards in Standard. I think partially because it hits both creatures and planeswalkers. So this is a bit of a non-bow with our Nissa. It's bad with the Awaken the Woods. It's bad with Devilish Valet. But we kind of have not that many like creature low power and toughness creatures going on. So for most of the time when we don't have those creatures on board, we kind of have some answer to our opponent's situation. So these Brotherhood Ends come in really handy for that. Similarly, we have Burn Down the House. It deals 5 damage to each creature and planeswalker. Well, that's one of the options. So that's another nice sweeper for when we don't have our creatures or planeswalkers on the battlefield, or we don't have creatures and planeswalkers that we care about. Um, that can help us deal with the opponent's board. And then the other option is also really nice because this is a 5 mana spell, so that will trigger Ovika, creating us 5 goblins. And then we can also choose, instead of sweepering our board, which seems like a bad idea if we're trying to create 5 goblins, we can create 3 devils. So we create a total of like 5 plus 3, 8 hasty little creatures that we can swing in with, which is really nice. So we can play Ovika, and then we can play Burn Down the House, create the devils. So this has more than just a sweeper utility or utility. It also works well with Ovika, and then it also works well with Devilish Valet because we can create those 3 devils, pump this up to 8 power, which can help us do a bunch of damage in a single turn. We saw it there in that like second to last game, or that last game, rather. And then Nissa, a very cool planeswalker from Phyrexia All Will Be One. This card ticks up, creates a token with power and toughness equal to its loyalty, or Nissa's loyalty, and then you can minus it to destroy target artifact or enchantment. We thought about using it in that one game, but we were already gone. Shieldred, just a crazy card. And then the -7 gives us that big trampling. We do have a few forests in our base, or land base. We have 4 to be exact. Funny enough, but we can create a bunch with Awaken the Woods is the idea. So that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. I will actually go ahead and see real quick if Magic has any special ruling on Ovika, because usually if you look up these things, if I look up Enigma or Ovika Enigma Goliath, and then I go to, you can go to Magic the Gatherer, or TCG Player also has usually rulings, as I think it's TCG Player usually has rulings underneath the card. I don't see anything with, here we go, Ovika, Enigma Goliath, Gatherer, Wizards. While on the stack, the value of X chosen for a spell with X in its mana cost is included when determining the mana value of that spell. So there's your answer. It does work with X spells. I'm not crazy. So there is actual synergy with Awaken the Woods and Silver Scrutiny. That would have been sad if this entire time I didn't know that. You can tell that I haven't played this deck a whole ton. I didn't been somewhat busy, so I haven't been able to play test all that much. But I think this is a really fun deck, and I think it proved itself through the games to be fun and generically kind of powerful. We had ways to win in pretty like difficult scenarios. So this isn't like always, or like we can top deck into some pretty explosive results, and it also is decent with dealing opposing boards and everything, and can ramp, and I feel like it's a generically pretty good or decent deck. Maybe I shouldn't say good, but let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, whenever or wherever you're watching. Ciao.